We should be live. All right. Very good. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. And again, this is the Friday night vigil for the Northern Neck Regional Jail. All the inmates from January 6th who went through Northern Neck Regional Jail, all January 6th inmates in general, those charged. And everyone who's tuning in on, thank you very much. This is day 1,130 since January 6, 2021, and it is February 9th, 2024. And Gina, if I can impose on you again to say the prayer, I'd love to.
I always like to open with a prayer with us a few words of music, so I'm just going to do a little bit, and then we will bow our heads and go to prayer. But God hear us, God bless us, God show us the way. Dear Lord, please lead us. All of us, we all come together. We don't know quite what we're doing, but we know with your guidance we will succeed. We just want to support and love and help this whole situation. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Gene. All right, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance next. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so thank you everybody for tuning in, and please share this out with everyone that you can. As usual, the J6ers call in around 7:30, and we'll end at 9 o'clock, hopefully with the ability to sing the national anthem along with everybody.
The women outnumber the men today. Yay.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Julie, check and see what you want.
If somebody could just make sure we're live streaming, that would be great.
Sure.
Oh yeah, log in. All right, so I want to make sure to read the roster, so we'll do that. But there's a few other things I want to talk about. I don't know if I'm even on the camera from over here, whether it matters or not. Looks like maybe. A couple of things that were pretty interesting to me that I wanted to cover. I got a phone call yesterday from one of our J6ers, and do you mind, Cheryl, if I mention a little bit about what he wrote? He's received all the letters that Cheryl has been sending and others have been sending, and he's so happy to get those and appreciated it a lot. The pictures of the cats, and he got a birthday card on his birthday, even though he was in transit. It somehow managed to get to him on his birthday.
Wow.
He's in a medium security federal prison right now, and he's telling me that it is just really, really strange there. And it's not the guards so much, but it's the people that are there. And there are a lot of people that have psychological issues that are in medium security federal prisons, and the rules are very weird. People can't wear like a religious cross around your neck or show your rosary beads or things like that, he said, but yet there are men walking around with skirts on. So, and it's cutthroat there, he said. But anyway, it was really nice to hear from him. He thanked all of the Northern Neck Patriots for everything that we've done to support him and everyone else. And, he's so thankful to have this support network out here, and it means so much. So I always encourage everyone, write letters to these guys. It's really not hard. After you get that first one started, don't worry about it,
Did he call for a particular reason?
He just wanted to call and say hello and say thank you, and to express the fact that he'd gotten all those cards. So that's fine. I often talk about the National Public Radio site that has a great sort of summary of what's been going on. They update this thing weekly. Again, National Public Radio. You just type in NPR J6 and it'll come up. They've gotten quite a bit more sensational. Look at this picture on the cover, on the front. I'll share with you all, but this is a very, I consider to be a salacious, picture to try to garner some kind of reaction. You know, these ladies are, they've got their mouths open, showing their teeth. These guys are holding their flags up in the air. There's a guy with painted face in the background. It's just almost looks like Officer Dunn, who's running for Congress in Maryland. It almost looks like the fake commercial that they made in Hollywood, which was not done in the halls of Congress. But check it out. Look at this. Pass it around. So I always go in there to check on status of folks and see what's new, and you got to look at it because they post at the very top of the list all the most recent arrests, and they're still picking people up. It appears to be you must have gone into the Capitol building, or you must have done something with a police officer on the outside, but they're still picking people up. So I want to read the second part. Look at that now. Look at that. She's just angry. So anyway, the propaganda gets a little bit more interesting. On January 6, 2021, supporters of then President Donald Trump stormed the U.S. Capitol, injuring 140 law enforcement officers, forcing a panicked evacuation of the nation's political leaders, and threatening the peaceful transfer of power. 5 people died during or soon after the riot, and more than $2.9 million worth of damage was done to the Capitol. Rioters brought firearms, knives, hatchets, pepper spray, baseball bats, and other improvised weapons to the Capitol grounds. And prosecutors say many of those weapons were used to assault police. Now, again, for those that want to call this an insurrection, there were no arms that were brought. There were no arms. So it goes on, the Federal Bureau of Investigation considers the attack an act of domestic terrorism. In response, the Department of Justice launched the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history. The FBI continues to make arrests for charges stemming from the insurrection, though at a slower pace than in the earliest months of the investigation. The FBI has estimated that around 2,000 people took part in criminal acts on January 6. At the current pace of arrest, the government appears unlikely to charge all those individuals before the statute of limitations lapses for many offenses on January 5th, 2026. According to an NPR analysis.
That says NPR analysis, right?
Yeah, so they've got a really nice little graphic here, of course, showing you the arrests. I guess that's an inverted, I don't know if there's a name for that graph type, but it's steadily ticking up though. Every month it ticks up. So we're at 1,266 through February, beginning of February 2nd, 2024. They go on here, the U.S. Supreme Court is also set to weigh arguments about the scope of a felony charge brought in more than 300 Capitol riot cases, including the federal criminal case against Trump himself, obstruction of an official proceeding. The court's decision could have implications for hundreds of January 6 defendants. We're going to talk about it. This is the writ of certiorari. I get to say that word again. We're going to have a drinking game when you have to say certiorari. 5 syllables, that's the key. But anyway, so I'm going to stop with that. I thought last night at the Board of Supervisors meeting, a good drinking game would have been the word dominion. It was mentioned so many times during that meeting that I thought that would have been a good one as well.
Smart.
Yeah. So the court's decision could have implications for hundreds of January 6 defendants. Absolutely. 300 of them have been charged with 1512C2 charges. That is in front of the Supreme Court. I keep looking for the schedule to find out when it's going to be heard. It's not on there yet. But that could have huge implications for many of the people that were charged. And frankly, the judges there was one judge who did not put that charge forward. He didn't pass that on through to some of the people that came before him. All the others did, so. NPR is tracking every federal criminal case stemming from that day's event. This database makes publicly available and searchable information on hundreds of cases, including alleged affiliation with extremist ideologies and past or present police or military experience. So they do talk about the charges and,
They're
you know.
effectively making veterans terrorists.
Well, they're trying to make a lot of people terrorists. So this morning, we talked about this earlier before we went on air. This morning was a hearing in the Virginia House, HB 280. I can't find it in front of me right now. I don't know if I brought it, but essentially what House Bill 280 would do is label anyone who had anything to do with the January 6th events as an insurrectionist. And the language that they used is when you try to, let me put it this way, it's about running for public office. If you have to sign a statement, just like an affidavit of residency when you run for public office, saying that you were not found to be associated with January 6th or the insurrection or anything like that. And if they find out that you are, then they can fine you and remove you. And it's bad legislation because one of the House members spoke back. I can't remember exactly, it's on my notes who it was, but his question was great. He said, I could understand if you use the word convicted of conspiracy because that is a ruling of a court of law. It's another thing to be found associated with an insurrection. So, it was not
Wrong place at wrong time.
wrong place, wrong time. It could be used, really could be used to do, it's used to silence anyone for speaking out against their government is what this was about. So I'll try to find that. Yeah. Is that one working? Or the main one?
The main one is.
I just want to repeat also something that was said last time when the callers came in. This was the DNC show, Dominic and Chris, but here's what they said, and this was pretty much verbatim. I wanted to say thank you very much to the Northern Neck Sentinel. Outside of the Bible, maybe the hottest and most read piece of literature in the Gulag right now. Chris got a couple copies, I got a couple copies. Chris chimes in, I'm trying to fact check this right now, and I see nothing that could possibly stop this. And Dominic says, I see there are different people reading it right now. So those guys really got a big kick out of getting to see the Sentinel in the jail.
Hopefully they can get the February too.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Sentinel will send those out as soon as they can.
I didn't even get a copy yet, so.
Yeah, I haven't looked at a hard copy until now. What else? Roll call?
Roll call.
Anybody want to do it? You want me to do it?
I'm just gonna check my list here.
I'll do it. If you want to do it. Howard Adams, Zach Alam, Eric Beauchene, Tim Boehner, Nick Brockhoff, Jeffrey Brown, and just again, folks, these are the names of the people that we know went through the Northern Neck Regional Jail for J6. Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Easterday, Brandon Fellows, Todd Gardner, James Grant, Matthew Green, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head, Brian Jackson, his brother Adam Jackson, Justin Jersey, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Hosea Kenyon, Nick Lagerand, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Malley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCoy, McCaughey, I think it is, Jonathan Mellis, Matthew Miller, Robert Morse, John Munifo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, Robert Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahila Pryor, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zach Riel, William Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Tario, Curtis Tate, Ricky Wilden, Shane Woods, and Kyle Young. So I've got multiple versions of this list, but I found this is the most dated one that I found, and I think it's the most current one. Yeah, absolutely. So if we missed anyone, I know we probably missed a couple. There were people that went in there just for days. There was one gentleman that was in there not even one full day. He got in, went to bed, got in, checked in, went, to hit the sack, and was woken by 4 o'clock in the morning and taken out. We were at the jail board meeting this week. Very interesting jail board meeting. We told them that one of the reasons that we're still having the vigils, but we're not having them there outside of the jail, that we're still interested in what's happening inside the jail. They know that from our presence, from our standing up and speaking. But we sort of let them know, and I know that John Haynes wrote about it in the Sentinel, that we're kind of giving them a break right now, letting the new administration have a chance to run the jail and see how they do. So so far, I'm encouraged. Maurice, you got any comments to add to that as you take a pretzel and take a bite of pretzel?
I always want to reach out and grab the mic that the guys hold. Yeah, I'm kind of enthusiastic about it. The new superintendent, just in demeanor, approach, openness, thoroughness of explanation, concise and to the point, at least 90 minutes shorter meetings.
Seems like it anyway.
To cover the same territory. Clearly more conscientious in general. And I thought it was interesting, some of the new tools that they brought in to demonstrate. That was very interesting. And all tools are subject to abuse. So let's not get carried away, but some good.
Describe the one.
So there's the one that they demonstrated, and a couple of us had to take out our hearing aids because it's what you call a sound shield. And this thing operates at, I think he said, 130 decibels, where your typical siren is 115 and a firecracker is 145. So this guy gave us a really short, like 1 second beep.
2 seconds, I think, right?
Was it 2 seconds? But I would stop and try to find a way to get that thing to go away. So the point is to provide tools to the COs so that they don't have to physically put their hands on somebody that's in custody that's simply not cooperating. These tools are intended to minimize that physical interaction and yet still achieve compliance. So that was encouraging. If it goes the way the people that engineered those tools intended, it could be a very good thing. There was a glove, they call it a glove, it comes in a pair of two, and I noticed that they even went through the effort to explain that only one of the gloves is charged, the other one is neutral. Which is good, because you can imagine if you took two of those charged gloves, which are basically like a TEMS machine on steroids, not quite a taser, but a TEMS machine.
I don't know what that is.
It's a medical device. You put that on both sides of somebody's upper torso and you could induce heart failure if both of them were working.
Like a paddle.
So
Yeah, the way they described it is that part of the problem is people putting their hands through the access slot in the doors and they won't remove them, and it's this battle to get them to get their hands back. So just laying that glove on the hand is enough to make somebody almost fall to the floor, because it's like a dog collar shock on when it gets laid on you. So they decided to buy 3 or 4 pairs of those, and they made that decision at the board last night or Wednesday.
Just as long as they don't use it against.
well, yeah, it's like I said when I started out, that anything is open to abuse. It doesn't matter if it's just a fly swatter, it could still be abused.
The shield did look like a shield, though. It was literally, it looked like something that Captain America would have, and it had 2 handles on the back of it. You hold it like that, and it had speakers. They're directional speakers, and that technology is really fascinating. I've been researching it a little bit, but they control, instead of the sound waves spreading, they stay in a very narrow focus, and that's how they can concentrate those 130 decibels into. It was loud when we were away from it. If it was directed right at you, I'm sure it would
Within
not be
range,
fun.
because we're on the other side of the room, and it's at least a 24, 26 foot room. So yeah, impressive. And you know, for those of us that are older, back in the day, everybody in high school used to say, I got a new set of Bose speakers in my bedroom. And they'd stand this tall, and the speakers themselves would weigh 4 tons. And my wife recently bought these little teeny tiny balls that you charge up, and they got Bluetooth connectivity. They got better sound than anything I could find in high school. I guarantee. So the speaker technology is phenomenal. So these things are pretty impressive. But I just want to caution everybody, anything can be abused, so we'll wait and see what kind of reports we get of how they actually use them.
Right. And also they said that the glove has an SD card, so that, is it the glove or the shield? The glove has an SD card, so when you're using it, it gets recorded, that how long they use it, and the frequency.
Michael Jackson glove or something?
Yeah, I guess. They said they always wear gloves when they have to put hands on a prisoner anyway. So, but this is going to allow them to have an additional means of control. And, you know, what was the name of the company? Something Technologies.
I couldn't even remember, but
I wrote it down, but I wanted to research it a little bit more.
I recorded it, so I got to listen.
interesting you mentioned Michael Jackson, though, because only one of these gloves actually works, and I recall Michael Jackson used to wear a glove on one hand for no apparent reason.
But it was white, the white glove, right?
All right.
These are big glove.
It's like he was trying out for the Red Sox or something.
Yeah.
So this is, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to talk earlier, before y'all got here, I was talking about a House Bill 280. I have found it right where I stapled it to, of course. That's where it was all along. I just want to read this. This was introduced into in the Virginia House of Representatives in the Assembly, General Assembly. And I'll just read, not the whole thing, but this is very fascinating, the kind of language that people are trying to push through that affect all of our liberties, if you think about it. Be it enacted by the General Assembly of Virginia that 15.2.1627 of the Code of Virginia is amended and reenacted, and that the Code of Virginia is amended by adding in Article 1 of Chapter 9, Title 18.2, a section numbered 18.2 as follows. I'll skip. 18.2.414.3, prohibition from serving in positions of public trust for conviction of rioting or insurrection related to elections, civil penalty. And it goes on to describe what a position of public trust is, and so on and so on. Any person convicted of an offense in this article or any substantially similar offense under the laws of the United States or any of its states or whatever, or at a polling place, a voting office, during the certification of an election, or any other official proceeding related to an election shall be prohibited for life from serving in any position of public trust within the Commonwealth. Any person who violates the provisions described shall be subject to a civil penalty of $1,000. And they must immediately resign from any such position of public trust such person holds. So if they find out after you're elected and you're in position that you did something that they can claim, found, not guilty of insurrection, but found to be associated with insurrection or riots or election interference of any kind, they can jerk you from office.
Has that been passed?
No, this was a hearing this morning. It was going to be read. I got an email from some great friendly patriots of ours, the Breakfast Club and some other folks, that this was coming up. And you had until midnight last night to sign up to speak. I did. I signed up before midnight. And then I sat up for a long time figuring out what to say. And I was up and ready this morning at 8:30 to give my speech, but they passed it over. So here's what I was going to say, and by the way, there's some fantastic commentary that people submitted on there, some really well-written stuff. My comments were this, and I did record these and put them on the record, so they are also in for it. To those duly elected representatives of the Commonwealth of Virginia who might consider HB 280 worthy of consideration, I ask you to be very introspective. If this bill were to pass, whose liberties does it restrict? Whose does it protect? Theirs, mine, or none? Shouldn't zero restriction of liberties always be the test? What if the tables were turned? Mine, theirs, or none? Should not all laws apply equally in terms of liberty? Should liberty not be the test of equality? Do you not want opposing ideas, discourse, and debate? When the majority party can make legislation to exclude the minority from anything and everything, they have truly obtained power. Please understand the gravity and impact of your decision. America is watching. God bless America.
So, you know, this is kind of lawfare. I've just browsed a few words of it. I haven't digested the whole thing yet, but it's clearly unconstitutional. Our U.S. Constitution would find that abhorrent. But you know how long it's going to take for that thing to get taken to court? Year and a half, 2 years, easy.
They carried it over, which I'm not sure what that whole process means, and it's going to pop up again at a moment's notice or what, but they decided not to debate it yesterday, or this morning, for whatever reason.
At the state level, I don't know what carryover means. I know locally it usually means we're going to table it until next month, but yeah. That could mean anything. They could call a meeting and say, okay, we'll do it now just because we're here. Sorry, public.
Yep. All right. That's really all the stuff I brought to talk about.
We had a similar thing happen with Dominion Energy. I don't know if you got in on that one. It was like we heard that you registered to talk. They were having a big hearing, and they called you, and they swore you in, and you got to have your statement about the smart meters and stuff. But we need to hear about this stuff earlier. I didn't get the word until late. You had to register by midnight last night, or I would have put it out to everybody, you know. So, yeah. How do you know how who's got the end to be able to? How can we find out earlier?
I think that's a great question, Gene. The folks that are there watching this stuff every day, you could see it. I was on the video this morning on the Zoom waiting for, to be called, the way that process works. And there were members of the public, but in the whole room with lots of seating, there was just people sitting on the ends of the two inner rows. So there's maybe a dozen people, and sometimes they would change, but they were coming up, and there were both sides represented. A lot more on the liberal side, I would say, than on the conservative side on any given issue. They were talking about they want to make some kind of change to the voter regs to allow people that are in jail, not for felony, but with misdemeanor charges or waiting charges, to make sure that they can get absentee ballots. It sounds really good on the surface, as long as those ballots get to those individuals and they get to indeed return them. But that was one that they were pushing, and they were clearly, the other one had to do with Dominion. It had to do with electricity in some way. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they had a lot of people speaking on that regard too. So
that's what I love about us getting together here. We're actually doing action. Republicans doing action, Republicans tend to be so hardworking. We're busy working, and taking care of our families, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs. And it seems like the Democrats have more time to get involved with this stuff, and we have to pay attention. We've got to make a difference here. Yeah.
That's what, you're going to have Liz Dickinson come and speak to your group soon, right? She was here on Tuesday night, and that's exactly what she talked about, is that I call them liberals, because I don't even really identify as a Republican at this point anymore. I'm still registered that way, but I'm just so disappointed with all of the deep state that I don't even use those names anymore. But
we're Americans.
That should be, yeah, exactly. But she's going to talk about that. They've perfected the long game. They've been out there. They've been doing this all the time, day in and day out.
And Gene, you made me think of something. When you said the Republicans are out working, we're creating economy, we're engaged in capitalism, and we're busy, right? And the thought occurs to me, I can go all the way back to my teens and look at a whole bunch of people that were involved in several artificially imposed recessions on the dole, collecting unemployment and welfare. And they did it for a lifetime. In fact, out in California, I recall when Mr. Duke Machen was governor, he had this study done and he found that the average stay on welfare was 2.2 years, and that included the lifetime members. So my point is that when you've got a bunch of people that are sitting around in their living rooms watching Oprah Winfrey eating popcorn and kicking it up in their jammies, believing everything that flat screen tells them, they've been building this army for a long time. This is sad. This is really sad. Because we didn't think about it back then. Back then we were busy getting that job or starting that business. And we didn't see that.
Hey, who saw Matt Gaetz come out the other night with his resolution to declare President Trump was not an insurrectionist? Did anybody see that?
I saw that. That's awesome.
I sent the link out. It's with the link that the Sentinel's in, so you can still look at it. But it's worth watching. I've watched it twice now. It's really amazing. Every one of those people, they've thought about their statements. They each had prepared great speeches. Some of them spoke just off the cuff. Other ones read what they had, but they all had really, really wonderful commentary. And I'm proud of them to finally stand up and shed a light on some of this injustice that's going on.
You know, that resolution gets adopted, it's got far-reaching effects.
It's one page.
It almost completely neutralizes the assertion that it was an insurrection at all.
Yep, and I think that's a really big statement for them to make. I'm glad to see Massey has been doing, having some hearings, and finally the new January 6th is asking some hard questions, which I think J6 committee is asking hard questions, which is good, finally. Something's buzzing. So I wanted to read this post that just came in. This is from J6 mom, Angie. 787 days today since my son was taken away, held, and sentenced to a ridiculous amount of time for things that weren't proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Hearing him talk to his 4-year-old son on the phone this week was heart-wrenching for me. How he keeps it together is amazing. He just says, "Mom, it's going to be okay. This is not forever." And he's right. Thankfully today that he is alive. I'm thankful today that he is alive, healthy, and sane. Seems stronger than ever, actually. Those that lost their lives that day and after, there are no words for how angry and sad I am for you and your families. My biggest disappointment is not that every American my biggest disappointment is that not every American is beside themselves over what has happened to these men and women. All of them. They were all let down by our government and our people. God bless everyone who was there that day, regardless of what your situation is today. Thank you for being patriotic and standing for what you believe in. They did not break us. They only made us better and stronger.
That's right.
And J6 Angie, I know you don't always watch this, but this is Mason. And thank you for those words. Angie contacted me in December of 2022 and told me that she wanted to reach out. She had found us, I don't know, through the Sentinel or something, or through some of the network of January 6 moms. And she said, "I just wanted to call and let you know that my son Mason seems to have a little pep in his step for the first time in months." He said, "Mom, there's people out here that call themselves the Northern Neck Patriots."
Hello, this is a prepaid call from Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $80. $8.33. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Patriots? How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
So I realized that sorry, that was my fault. I didn't expect people that called in and got left full.
Hey, Chris, I can't hear you too well.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
That's good.
Is this any better?
Better, thanks.
Very good.
Okay, so I wanted to apologize. I think you guys got left out of the poll last week for the anthem, so I wanted to apologize about that. That was my fault. I thought someone was calling in and they weren't, and sorry about that. So anyway,
No worries at all.
Starting this week we have a full roster, and next week I am off for restrictions, so we'll be back to normal. Through another person, across the board, and then everything should be golden. So everything's good over here. You know, we have a whole new set of guards in here. Everyone's just kind of, you know, doing their thing. You know, there's not a lot of unnecessary drama, we'll call it. Or not drama, but just unnecessary arguments, stuff like that. So it's cool.
Good. So what do you think
Like I
that?
said.
What do you think the new guards? Is that just the normal thing? They switch them out from time to time.
Every year they switch them out. So they stay for a year and then they're gone. Usually in prison, they don't even last a year. Usually after 6 months, they're out. At least it's been that way in other facilities because they don't want you developing relationships with the guards. You know what I mean? For obvious reasons. And that's not just us. You know, COP and DOC have policies that say that guards, you know, be locked out. That way, like I said,
All right, we're losing you again.
Yeah, sorry about that. So how about this?
Good.
Okay, so it's just about contraband being brought in and relationships being made with the guards and, you know, favoritism and stuff like that. You know, it's just a DOC rule and or a BOP rule. Usually guards don't even last 6 months, or a year. They go about 6 months. But anyway, so yeah, new guards. Everyone's pretty cool so far. You know, still in the honeymoon stage. You know, it's, but yeah, everyone's pretty cool. You know, so like I said, we got some new guys in here. You'll hear from one of the guys. There's Doug, David, and Scott. I don't know if you've heard from either of them, so they're going to call in a little bit later on tonight. And as far as me, besides watching our commander in chief over there lose his place and then get bombarded by, I still say that there was a bunch of questions. I'm talking about his latest APM, which he never does, way past his bedtime. His APM, little speech that he did. I still say that half of the questions that the people asked were already predetermined, and then the other one, you know, threw him for a loop, and that's why he got all angry and everything else. You know, when everyone called you, the whole saying that as issues, it's like, the left is even like, well, who are these reporters anyway? Well, the one reporter was from CNN. So, you know, it's pretty crazy when the left starts turning on themselves and saying, please, anyone but Joe, anyone but Joe. It's pretty hilarious. You know.
You want to ask him?
Other than that, I got a MRI. I don't know if I told you guys, but I did get an MRI. I got the reading, and I saw the surgeon, and I saw it today in black and white. I am set up and on the schedule for surgery. Finally, 4 months later, all could have been done within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and just wasn't. Everyone was pointing the finger at each other. So.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that finally happened. Cheryl has a question for you.
I wanted you to tell everybody about the new commissary items that you have available.
Oh, yeah. So we have a bunch of new commissary items. So again, I'm on restrictions, so I haven't seen it first person. But speaking about commissary, before I forget, I'll jump right back to that. I wanted to say thank you to Angelina Sayada, S-A-I-T-T-A, for sending me a online towel. Thank you so much. The towel went to someone else. My old headphones went to someone else, and I have new headphones now. And all the food. Thank you so much for the garlic. Someone was listening because they bought me 5 things of garlic. So that's about a week's worth. So no, I'm joking. I'll be good for garlic for about a month, and that's all. And so someone was listening.
Well, somebody last week told us that you have the greatest store of condiments in the place.
Oh yeah, I do. And it's my OCD, or I guess it's OCD. It's really organizational. Again, I'm an electrician foreman, so everything is like it needs to be organized. If it's not organized, then you can't find it. If you can't find it, you're double ordering, and then it's a waste of money. And it's just if you bigger the job, the more waste you have, the smaller your profit. The smaller your profit, the worse the company does. The worse the company does, and the smaller your bonus. You know. Obviously, I was trying to start my own company right before January 6th happened, and that didn't happen. So, but just it's always, you know, it's always nice to just be able to look at something and say, oh, I need more ketchup. Oh, I need more mustard. Oh, I need more this. Everything is in its own individual box, in one bigger box, and you know, everything has its place. You know what I mean? So whenever someone, oh, do you have ketchup? Do you have this? Do you have that? Yeah, sure. Just go ahead and grab it. Go ahead, and everyone knows that my door is an open door. You know, they can go grab whatever they want and just please replace it whenever you can. So,
My God, he's turning into the new bird.
not a big deal. But yeah, so thank you for giving me commentary, and then also the new commentary item. We have sugar, we have honey, we have we didn't get the big honey jar, like the jars of honey, but the packets aren't horribly priced. It's only about another $1 per jar. It used to be like $5.50 per jar, and now in individual packets at 35 cents wind up being about $6.50 a jar. So with Bidenomics and the inflation going on, being that we had jars only about 6 months ago, a dollar more actually isn't bad at all. So those jars are probably $7.50, honestly, if they cost $5.50 before. You know, at least that's what we hear from the outside.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's we have honey, we have that, we have tea, we have a bunch of different sodas. We have vitamin C. We have. I'm just going off the top of my head over here. There's a bunch of different things. There's probably about 20 different items.
Wow.
And that's something that had been slowly deteriorating. A bunch of different candies. I'm not a big candy guy because, again, I'm trying not to get fat again. And it's very, very easy to get fat. So they give you a lot of bread. They give you about 2,700 calories in retail every day. But I would say 1,500 calories bread and cake. So, it's really, really easy to get fat. You're not moving around a lot. We did go out to outdoor rec for the first time in like 3-4 months, a couple days ago. That was
Great.
awesome.
Great.
How long without?
Yeah, how long were you out there? Somebody asked.
We're out for an hour.
Okay.
Out for an hour. So usually Monday through Friday we have an hour of rec. It's supposed to be outdoor as long as the grass is dry. As long as the grass is dry and everything else, we're good to go. But they just, yesterday or today, they just didn't have enough people. So I am going to shoot out of here a little early because I was late calling in, and I have another call on the DC Vigil. That was my fault. Again, it's a little tricky being without being on restriction. But by next week, I'll be off the restriction. So, guys, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you. I know I'm forgetting some things.
You're allowed.
But I just wanted to say thank you so much to all you guys. We have someone calling right away. And that's it.
Sounds good, Chris. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks for all that you do in there for us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like I said, we got a full schedule, so we'll be calling right up until 9 o'clock.
Awesome. All
All
right.
right, Taylor will be calling in right now. All right, have a good one, guys. Thank you. God bless. And hey, Trump just won Nevada, so it's about to be a blowout. Everyone knows it's gonna be. My guesstimate is 40 points higher than. I'll say 30 points higher than Haley over there. And I'm just telling you right now, I would hate to see it, but I wonder, does anyone know off the top of their head, if Trump wins the nomination, is Haley definitely going to bail out? Did she sign the thing that says that she won't go independent?
I don't know. I've not watched. They're not following.
I'm just saying. So a bunch of and John Sack is calling in right now. But so way back when everyone said, hey, if you're gonna join the debate, then you have to. If you lose the Republican nomination, to get into the debate, you have to say you won't go independent, and Trump wouldn't do it. I think he was the only one who wouldn't do it. I think Haley did sign that contract.
You have 1 minute remaining.
I'll talk to you guys later. John Tax is calling in. All right, love you guys. Thank you. God bless America.
God bless America. Good night.
Thank you for using Global Telly.
It doesn't work.
Then what's his last name? Which one is that?
That's Chris Quaglin. He's the one who has celiac disease, and
So sick here, they just made him so much sicker.
Right.
He's doing better than.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, much better.
yeah.
And John Atakis usually has a speech, something he reads.
But apparently the DC jail responds to a phone truth. When you get 20 people calling in, they actually do something about it. Unlike this place.
Wow.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from An inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $86.63. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good, Taylor. How you doing
How you
today?
doing, Tom?
Doing great.
Oh, I'm doing great. It's another day here in the pumpkin patch. So I tell people all the time, they ask, how are you doing? Today's about a 4. So I figure when you're in jail on a scale of 1 to 10, you can't ever really get above a 4, you know. But today might even have been a 4.5 because my wife actually flew all the way out from Seattle, Washington, out to visit me today. And I got a 2-hour visit with her. It was absolutely glorious. So 2 big things this week. We got to go outside for the first time. I got to see the sun, the sky, the clouds, touch the ground, and take fresh air for the first time in 2.5 months. And I got to see my wife this week. So overall, it's like a 4.5, you know, in jail. It's pretty good week. And we got more commissary, which I heard Quagwin talking about earlier too. So that's real nice.
Yeah, those are all great things. Awesome.
Yeah. What kind of crowd do you have there tonight?
We got about 7 or so folks. We got a lot of interest. We're here in the VFW. You know, I think we told you all that. We're not outside the jail right now.
Yeah.
But it's just it's really great. So we're getting a lot of support, people online too. So yeah, happy to hear you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. There's something that I've kind of been talking to some of the guys in here this week about is the most important word in the English language. Do you want to take a guess what the most important word in the English language is?
Jesus.
It's really any language.
Oh, that's a great one. What do you guys think?
Jesus.
Jesus, someone says.
Grateful.
Grateful.
Jesus, that's a good one. That's
Yes.
a good one. But when I tell you what it is, you're gonna recognize why even Jesus needs this word in order for him to be great.
Someone else said yes.
Any guesses?
Yes. True.
Yes, no, not quite. It'll surprise a lot of people when I say it. I'll go ahead and tell you. The most important word in the English language, and I have this word engraved on the inside of my wedding ring in Portuguese, because I speak Portuguese as well, but it's the same word. It's remember. The most important word in the English language is to remember. If we don't learn how to remember, we would forget a name like Jesus. We would forget something like truth. We would forget something like honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days might be long upon the land. We would forget things like the 10 Commandments. We would forget if we didn't know how to remember. So remembering is kind of the beginning of everything, right? This is why the printing press was so powerful, because the printing press put into the future the things we learn today. Does that make sense?
It makes
and
great
so remember
sense.
is the word remember is the most powerful word in the English dictionary. So, or in the English and really in any language, that sentiment. So when we think about what's going on in our modern times, we have to remember. We have to remember things like they put Donald Trump on trial for keeping classified documents in his home, when we hear about people like Joe Biden, who was not a president, keeping classified documents in his home. We have to remember the two stages, tier system of justice, right? We have to remember things like the report from the Department of Justice this week that says Joe Biden can't remember when his son died within even a few years. He can't remember when he served as vice president, right? If he can't remember those things, then how is he going to be able to manage the present so that the future is shaped the way we the people want? Does that make sense? So we have to remember things like when someone is guilty of a scandal, we have to remember that. We have to remember the names of individuals who are embroiled in scandal time and time again. We need to remember all these different things so that we can know what the truth is. Knowing truth starts with remembering the truth. So that's something that a lot of people seem to forget. When I was in high school, I talked about this yesterday on the DC Visual, I had to read the book Animal Farm twice. It was a reading assignment in 2 separate classes. And then in college for political science, I had to read it again. When you read Animal Farm and you internalize it and understand it, you can see the woes of collectivism in all of its forms. And you can see the merits of individualism and volunteerism and things like that, right? And if you remember those lessons, then in the future in life, when you see things like collectivized guilt, or you see things like collectivized economy schemes, you're able to remember something like Animal Farm and what happens in the last scene of Animal Farm when the crony capitalists and the drunk farmers who were abusive to their animals started to act the same as the pigs who were abusive to their comrades, right? And when they both in the last scene of Animal Farm cheat at cards and both play an ace of spades at the same time, you recognize things have come full circle, and we can only recognize that when we remember those things. So I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody as they go through life. Don't forget to remember. It's the most powerful word in the English language, and it's upon remembering that all truth is established and it's carried forward into future generations. I'll tell you what, those that are dictators and authoritarians today, they want us to forget things like the spirit of 1776. They want us to forget things like the Constitution of the United States of America, the separation of powers, and the fact that the Constitution was designed to dissolve and limit tyranny in all of its forms. They want us to forget those things. So it behooves us, the people, to remember, remember, remember. So that's really all I wanted to say as far as the message tonight. And then I wanted to open it up for questions. There's some people there. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer, or anything? Just if anybody wants to ask questions, I'd like to open it up for that.
Yeah, so I think we got some questions brewing here, but I love that. Remember, that's a great touchstone. You could turn that into a wonderful speech for 5 minutes about so many things. You need to also remember all the people that are behind putting you guys in there, and because they know better. They know better. They know that they're bastardizing our justice system and they're doing wrong. And it's that anything but Trump syndrome. Yep.
And some of these names are the same names that you saw in Russiagate. They're the same names that you see involved in Ukraine. They're the same names that you see involved with the intelligence agencies that have been weaponized, right? Some of these names are the same names, and yes, it does behoove us to remember the names, right? There's whistleblowers that have come forward on multiple scandals. On one scandal, they're vindicated. Shouldn't that make us remember them when the next scandal, when they bring something forward, and not let them be forgotten? When one person is embroiled in some type of Epstein-type thing, we shouldn't forget. I'll tell you one thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize, and I actually got my podcast blown off Spotify. The entire thing got nuked when I mentioned this. But Mitt Romney, when he started Bain Capital, the Daily Beast in 2012 ran an article on Mitt Romney, and it casually mentioned that when he started Bain Capital, his first investor for $2 million was Robert Maxwell. Remember, Robert Maxwell is Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Mitt Romney took money from Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Is it any wonder why Mitt Romney voted against Donald Trump in impeachment twice? Think about that. Remember. This is a small town, and it's a small swamp of corruption. When you remember the names, you see funny connections like that. What business did Mitt Romney have borrowing money from Robert Maxwell?
Yeah, that's a fascinating one. I think that's great, and we've got to remember just to go ahead.
Daily Beast article in 2012. Who says the Daily Beast couldn't do some good journalism?
Yeah. So the other thing to remember is to tell people, and this is directed to everybody that's listening to these podcasts or that they're spreading them around. Remember to spread this word around. It's your word that we're trying to get out to the American people. So Taylor, I love where you're going with all this. It's a great one.
Yes, truth is infectious, and and as long as truth is spoken, it will be infectious. If truth is forgotten, then it will be forgotten, and fiction will win. So truth must be spoken, and it must be spoken again and again so that we remember.
What's the saying about truth? It's like a lion. Do you know that one?
I'm sure I've heard it. It's ringing a bell. I just can't remember it now that you said it.
I think it's truth is like a lion. You don't have to take care of it. All you need to do is set it free. It'll take care of itself. Something like that.
Take care of itself. Yep. That's right. You must speak it into existence. So are there any questions?
So listen, you guys read the Sentinel that was delivered. We have a new edition that's out, and I'm sure copies are on the way to you. But what did you think of that paper?
I thought it was really fascinating, and I wrote back to the sender that sent it. There's a personal note of mine, And I'm really impressed at the activism and the caring over what's happening in the Northern Neck Jail, but all the jails in general. I was really impressed. I was really impressed at the going to the different meetings. I can't remember exactly everything off the top of my head, but I thought it was just, you know, there was a picture of, and the one I had a picture of one of the food trays, and I thought, oh, they get trays, that's nice. You know, it is. It's like a couple hot dogs, a little thing of vegetables, and that's it. You know, we have some Iranians that are here now. That one of them actually was a political prisoner in Iran when the Ayatollah was installed. You know, remember when the CIA overthrew the Shah and put the Ayatollah in? Right. And he was a political prisoner for 2 years. He was 3 years, his wife was 2 years. I mean, legitimate political prisoners. But he said Amnesty International is crawling all over that jail, and he's here in the D.C. gulag. And we always thought, oh, he must think that we're a bunch of snowballs in here, and, you know, it must have been really hard in Iran. And he'll tell you straight up, it was easier in Iran in the 1970s than it is here in the D.C. gulag. And that's quite the indictment. He says in Iran, and I'm telling his story, he should tell himself, but essentially groups like Amnesty International helped police that jail to make sure that you know, for the most part, human rights were not being violated. We do not have that same luxury here inside these American jails and prisons. Right? We preach to the world about democracy and about human rights, and the Geneva Convention says you can't be in solitary for more than 14 days. But standing in front of me here is an individual that was in solitary for 22 days just a week ago, while he was, quote, under investigation for some nonsense that he was found innocent of. 22 days he was in solitary confinement while they investigated something. You know, yes, the Geneva Convention says that 14 days is the max. You know, we have a Guantanamo Bay guard here that used to be a guard down at Guantanamo Bay, and he'll tell you straight up, aside from when we were torturing people in Guantanamo Bay, aside from that small moment in time, he says the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay have it way better than we do. And the type of terrorism they're accused of, I mean, come on, let's be realistic compared to the activities that happened on January 6th, right? We're talking two different worlds. So, yeah, it really is something to behold. And that newsletter, what I was impressed about was that this might be the first time in a large Main Street American group that's not, you know, that is bringing attention to these different things. And really, it's benefiting, I'm sure, a lot of the minorities that just do not have the organized voice. So I was very impressed by the Sentinel, and I'm happy that you guys are doing that. Over time, this will be one of the largest reform movements on the planet to reform the jail and prison systems in the United States of America. And if God has a hand in it, I believe that will be one of the purposes that history will look back on and say that was one of the huge benefits of January 6th, was that the awareness that gets brought to Main Street of the conditions inside of the United States in what is truly a shocking system. We have the largest prison population, both by volume and per capita, in the entire world, and that really is incredible.
That's a true statement, and I've done that research and I've looked. Yes, we are the highest number of incarcerated
in the world,
in the entire world. Virginia is one of the highest in the United States, if not the highest. It's amazing.
Yes, it really is stunning, and you really have to ask yourself. My wife was in town, and we lived in Brazil for a couple of years, and she said, driving around D.C., she said, it's more filthy and a worse-looking city than what we saw in the majority of Brazil, which was poor and crime-ridden and has a fraction of the government resources that our country has. She was shocked. When I went to the Capitol, you know, the Capitol area, you've got brass-plated fire hydrants, and everything's made of marble and granite. But you leave that Capitol Hill area, and it's a scary place. You know, in a country that professes law and order, you drive around a lot of America, hollowed out Detroit, the empty cities in Appalachia, D.C., the southern border, right? You could go on and on, almost every, you know, Skid Row in Los Angeles.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And it really makes you ask the question, who is it that's running this place? We have to remember the names that are currently running the place because they are failing on the job. My wife today was sexually assaulted. A man came up and slapped her ass very hard and bruised her in the D.C. jail as she was checking in for visitation, in front of the guards and everything, and nobody did anything about it. He sexually accosted her, asked if she wanted to sleep with him after she slapped her butt, and she had to scream no, 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 and nobody did anything about it. That happened inside of a federal building, inside of DC today. Who is running this place?
Good question. I hope we remember that one and they remember that. I know you won't forget it. I'm just so sorry to hear
I
that.
will not forget it. I will not forget it, and neither will she. You know, it's an indictment. All right, guys, thank you so much. For those of you that care to honor my family, GiveSendGo.com, John Attackis Family Help. Everything goes to my wife and my 5 kids at home, and we really appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Taylor Jonatakis. Remember,
What's the live stream?
this one?
Yeah.
Northern Neck Patriots.
Yeah.
Just YouTube.
Okay.
That was,
So it's interesting that he brought up remembering today, because the thought that I was having early on, and then it kind of went in a direction that wasn't good, but
Then you
remember
remember
last
it.
week? Huh?
Then you remembered it.
Yeah. But last week we were talking about stories. So now we have this guy who's just absolutely awesome, talking about remembering, and the two are kind of connected.
Okay, thank you.
you want some tea?
I'm good now.
We were busy. I didn't think-
That's fine.
All right.
I'm communicating with my brother in Texas.
It'll be okay, you know.
toes are cold. I guess it's starting to drop outside. I guess it must be. It's kind of a pleasant day. It was a great day today.
Won't be tomorrow.
Really, it's dropping back down?
It'll be wet.
Oh.
Tomorrow, starting around noon, it's gonna get wet. And it's gonna get windy into the next day, but it's gonna be even wetter.
Oh, my.
We're gonna get about 1.5 inches, 2 inches over the next
So what's your list?
48 to 54 hours.
I saw Sunday looked bad. I'm hoping tomorrow will maintain.
My next
The first half of the day will be okay.
We have a few kids from the Gloucester County High School ROTC that work at the farm tomorrow.
This is what we read
And I was hoping they get in a good day, that maybe they'll get party.
You
Might
notice
get
anything
something
that I'm
going.
missing?
You're a little bit farther
I know you
east.
don't have the spelling.
Maybe you'll,
I hope we can make it through. They really wanted to work 9 to 5 tomorrow, so
Well,
we
yeah,
got plenty
fix
for
that
them
for
to
me.
do,
Tell me.
so.
oh, I'm sure.
Give a red pen.
But this is the.
We gotta spell their names right. Yeah.
But this is what, the one behind bars. That's my cat, that's very.
I think it was Barry
And then she's
Rainey's
straight.
wife.
You wanna put this in front of the camera and show people? Here.
Take the microphone with you, baby.
You don't need it, she can talk right there, they'll hear it.
Yeah, it's louder when you just talk
Yeah.
right here, you don't have to scream. Wanted to show you a picture of one of the cards I had sent. It's my cat Gracie, and I made this. It says 9 bars. He's just putting his head through the rails. And on the inside, I have, she's free. Life can be tough, but hang in there and stay strong. So that's her, free.
Yeah, it's a nice card.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You made that?
Well, I showed you I did, I just sent
Yeah.
a picture.
You guys pretty much. Are you interested in the book? We're looking at it.
Let me see, I'm a terrible reader.
It's a historical fiction. It's a
Story of Boston and Bunker Hill.
historical fiction. I mean, it's based upon real people. I handed it to one of our members. I remember it was, I think, Ken. And I gave it to him at the meeting last. He read it. Like,
Wow.
he didn't say how long it took, but he read it clearly within a month. But it's a fast read. I think I read it in 3 or 4 days. And then this is a video that I want to promote. Video called Let My People Go. The film No Political Party wants you to see. Free the J6 prisoners, end rigged elections. And it's available online. This is from Professor David Clements. He talks about a lot of the stuff. You know who that is, Maurice? Yeah. He's rather flamboyant, I think, but he's been through the ringer. He said no to the whole COVID doctrine. He was basically pushed out of the university that he worked, and because he would not, I think he taught.
A little bit hard-headed.
Yeah, he's a bit hard-headed, but great video. Again, Let My People Go. It's a little long, but 2 hours, 16 minutes, but it's really worthwhile. I'm going to pass this around to anybody who wants to watch it and pass it on. It came to us from the Virginia Tea Party, and they're pushing it around. It's a great one.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this.
You have an interest in this or not?
I haven't interested, but I know enough. I have so many.
I know, good
I'm
stuff.
so terrible. I find so many things that I like.
Well, we got to definitely push this one. Save the Kid, Reed Christensen. I haven't talked to Reed in a little bit. I don't even know if he's still in the DC Gulag. Do you know, Cheryl? Is Reed still in DC? Does anybody online know?
He's on hold. We don't know where he is yet.
He's somewhere in transit.
But he's
This is a
going
book
to,
you could read in a night. It's fascinating, and he does a great job telling the story about what our government can do to any one of us. And it's a perfect example of every one of these people that call in here. So I highly recommend it.
Reed is on his way to FDC Philadelphia. I don't know if he's there yet. As far as the Patriot Mail,
Project.
It's not listed yet as begging for right to him since, well, I haven't checked in 2 days.
Is there any new news about Texas? What's happening down there?
I haven't
I haven't heard anything the last few days.
I haven't been able to really tune into much these last few days this week.
Yeah.
I guess I had heard that people were gathering at various places, and but I also heard there was a huge number of trucks that were headed down there. I've not ever.
We're in
Yeah,
California.
they already got there.
How many trucks were there? Were there hundreds?
Hundreds of
Thousands?
yes.
Thousands.
Thousands in Southern California.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it.
Because I heard about it, and I was just down in Texas. I was just there over the weekend. I could have had dinner with Michael Yan and what's the lady's name again? Ann Vandersteel. I could have had
Really?
dinner. I could have, really. I was like, because I was invited by the lady who sells the satellites, phones,
Sat 1, 2, 3.
to everybody, and she's so nice, so sweet. All these people are so humble, you know. And so she's like, oh, would you like to have dinner with us? I go, oh, y'all going to dinner? Yeah, we're gonna go have dinner with Michael Yan, whatever his name is, Jan and Vandersteel. And I'm like, I would love to, but I have to work. I work in this booth. I can't leave. Because I'm doing my clear stuff there, you know. And then my boss came back. I said, I just missed a phenomenal opportunity. I could have gone down to the border. It's an hour and a half to Eagle Pass. We could have had dinner with them. He goes, why don't you go? I go, because I'm working for you. And he's like, that would have been fine.
Oh no.
Yeah,
After the fact, he said
of
you
course
could go.
he said that.
Oh,
I said, it's too
You
late
got no
now.
battery in that one, man.
It's too late now. But then we ended up having dinner with Dr. McCullough instead.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
I
Mel
get the
K
sense
there?
that those things are on a totally
No,
separate.
she was not at the
band.
meeting that I was at. No, I've met Mel K one time. She was at the Turning Point meeting. She's so sweet.
Yeah, she's from New York too, so.
She moved to Florida.
Oh, did she really?
And she dyed her hair longer.
She was at Reawakening in Virginia.
Oh yeah, she was at the Reawakening. That's right, Virginia Beach.
Clay Clark, too.
She is so nice. But all these people are just like us, you know, they're just regular people that have put themselves out there to do something. And, Dr. McCullough is really, really good friends with my boss because they just really clicked. But everybody has become that way that's in this world, you know? And Dr. McCullough he's like, I feel like, you know, these people work for us. And I'm just gonna tell next time I see so-and-so, somebody that didn't show up to the hearing, that when he had a hearing, I don't know if you all saw, you probably didn't, but was on C-SPAN. He was doing a hearing with Martin
Hunter
Green.
Biden.
Huh?
Hunter Biden, he didn't show up.
Oh, No,
He
that's
gets
not,
up and leaves.
that's not what I'm talking about. Margaret Green Taylor, she was doing a hearing with McAuliffe about the vaccines. And he and one of the guys didn't show up, one of the senators didn't show up. He said, I'm gonna kick him in the ass. I'm gonna kick him in the ass.
A prepaid call
It was funny.
Right.
An inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility.
Right.
To accept this call, press. Your current balance is $84.93. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello there.
Hello there. Yeah, Mark Brew, how are you?
Hey, Mark. Mark, happy to hear you.
Yeah. How's everybody feeling tonight?
We're feeling good. It's been a long week, but I think a good week. I'm excited about the direction things are going.
Yep. Well, as long as we're shining the light on the copper, I think we're heading in the right direction as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So can you get closer to the mic, or we can't hear you great?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a curly cord here. Can you hear me better now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, a lot better. Thank you.
All right. So you guys are dealing with an issue that's been brought up over there in Northern Neck, and that is that's touched for some of the angst and crux of the issue here in America with the prison plan and the authoritarian type model. And I wanted to focus a little bit on the authoritarian. So the authoritarian says that we are a necessary evil because you will have those who choose to do wrong and let's say murder or steal or this or that. But in a positive polarity state, meaning public law, you don't have those issues because your government isn't causing it. This is a government issue. If law enforcement, if the authoritarian was truly righteous in their endeavors, and they would go after these criminal entities within the United States, and they're easy, low-hanging fruit when it comes to public law, and the criteria for that are the members in the apparatus of government. Are they creating an environment for prosperity and for education and gain? Well, they're creating a gain for themselves, but for society, they're basically creating their own problem by having or perpetuating poverty through overtaxation and limitation. I want to give you a specific example. Is that Spirit Airlines and JetBlue decided to merger together because the big four airlines, who have been a crux and a stranglehold on American aerospace for commercial use, decided that they were going to get together as businesses and merge so that they could compete with those bigger boys and break up the monopoly between the four. And the big four paid off their people and had their servants within the judicial system go ahead and put a kibosh on that. Now, if the servants within the judicial system really had this idea of fairness and open market, free market, then they would have dissolved the monopoly of Delta and American Airlines a long time ago and stopped bailing them out when they were not solvent and they were bleeding money. Where do you think that bailout money came from? It came from the American people, your second job,
your part-time job, your spouse going to work. This is where this is caught. And I'm telling you, the authoritarian state will make an excuse for itself to exist. But it does not need to exist, not in nearly the capacity that it is now. And that's what I would like to close with tonight, is that when we rethink our personal feelings and our vibration, our positive and negative vibration on what the authoritarian state looks like, we find that it's obsolete. And it has shown that true colors are creating like this ignorant society.
We're losing you again. We're losing you again.
To maybe minor things, and it becomes a revolving door, and every time you're spit out, you're a little bit more broken than when you went in. There is no such thing as corrections within the system. They are basically just giving the bare minimum of support to justify their saying that they're supporting, but it's nothing but a bunch of racketeering in which they're creating a prison economy off of the suffering of Americans.
They've got a bad.
Uh-oh, some bad connection.
Yeah.
Can't hear him at all.
Anyway, so that's kind of what I've been thinking about this week. Is I've been trying to answer the question. It's been brought to me directly through what do you do when someone walks up and no reason whatsoever kills somebody? And I'm saying, in a positive environment where people are have a good outlook of what is coming around the horizon with their future, their prosperity, their ability to raise children and not suffer for it, and to be able to create business and wealth for generations of their family, then you don't find that kind of reality where there's just random people killing each other. If you do, it's very hyperbolic and very situational, and it's a minor blip on the spectrum of crime in a society that's positive.
Hey, Mark, I like where you're going with this. So I think it was at some point several years ago that we passed the tipping point where we have over 50% of the population is either employed directly by the government or the military or receives some sort of compensation from the government. Is that a true statement? I've heard that before.
It is a very likely true statement. I've heard it before. I don't know that or that number, but I know from personal experience, when I grew up traveling to any jail facility, and the government there, that this is not just affecting the person incarcerated, affecting a whole network of personal connected families that is never counted for. I'll say from a personal experience, I have, for all the politics, whatever, before I spoke up, I was in the middle of negotiating an acquisition for a business that was worth about $15 million, and I was going to use cash flow to pay a separate payment and they dip into that. I had 11 years of experience in sales. That helped. And I was very close to making that deal. But when people found out that I was part of the Proud Boys in politics, all of a sudden, basically, my opportunities dried up.
Huh.
Nobody wanted to be associated. So, people should not have to be afraid of their government is not big fair. Most everybody is a follower, and they will do whatever it tells them what to do. You just look at the nepotism of law enforcement, and you'll know that that's true. They call themselves law enforcement, however, they don't know the law. So they just go by policy. And the policy gets them money. And every time you get a ticket, that's a bill of attainder. That traffic from public law is private law, which is a criminal law. And so now you have been kidnapped. As soon as that officer gives you that ticket, you can kidnap out of civil jurisdiction. And so when you go to court, you're likely to have to pay the fine based on your straw man account. And so this is what these are the issues. Stop mixing corporate contract law in with public law and just enforce the law. We should enforce the law that has been there since the beginning.
Hey, Mark?
You would actually get the word.
I don't know if I can hear you at all.
Mark, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, can you pass some word on to the rest of the guys? I want you to hear about a House bill in the Virginia Assembly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So this was supposed to be heard today. It was passed over, but it's called House Bill number 280. It's in the Committee on Privileges and Elections. And basically what it's trying to do is a prohibition from serving in positions of public trust for conviction of rioting or insurrection related to elections and civil penalty. And it goes on, but you get the gist of that?
Yeah, they don't, anybody that protests the authoritarian, totalitarian government doesn't have access to being elected. They have a voice for that person. That's they. Notice the wording, the wording of that, privilege.
Right. Hey, we can't hear you so well. We can't hear you very well. I'm sorry.
He can't hear you either.
Can you move closer or something? We're not hearing you well.
Yeah, notice the words in that is privilege. You know, you're being offered an adhesion contract in order to participate. So we're going to make you an offer that you can participate, and we'll say that you have a right, to serve under these conditions. And so basically, they're giving the apparatus the advantage over common sense debate.
Right. Right. So it's one we'll fight. We'll fight that for sure, and we'll see where it goes. But it just amazes me the kinds of things that those in power want to do to restrict your rights and keep you down. If they, that's what they're trying to do. So cannot let that happen.
Well, I think a united front that there's a moratorium on any of them. The border BS that they're trying to say that they need to legislate more stuff, more funding, more law enforcement. Yes, stop using law enforcement to manage the border and hand them out sandwiches and aid and being basically like a Red Cross and start administering the law. Just enforce the freaking law with the ones you have. It doesn't take a lot of guys to do it.
You have 1 minute remaining.
They're basically BSing their way through this because they know everyone's going to be paying attention to this election.
That's right. But like
on any legislation right now.
right. But like Taylor was saying earlier, use the word remember. We've got to remember this. We cannot forget this. We will not forget this. And we're going to have to make people be held accountable for the things they've done.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there are 3 things that can be done right now. That is, to give notice to your officials and give them 3 options. 1, recant and submit to a public forum of government. 2, resign. 3, face criminal prosecution. And if you're gonna sit there and rely on the judicial branch to execute those prosecutions.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
They have a bad connection.
So Mark Brew, I thought that he was gonna get cut off. He could not seem to hear us.
Yeah, that seems like a cable is,
I thought they used tablets, but he may have been on an actual phone with a,
both with Chris and it's all really bad tonight. I mean,
well.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Patriots. Thanks for joining in.
I love Good News Fridays. This is a newsletter I get. From,
yeah, I was just reading an article on I saw that.
I encourage him.
Yeah, right. Could be inside. You can sit down.
He says, well, and he starts talking about how he wrecked a couple of cars. Lately he goes back when he was a kid, after the military, this and that. He fell asleep on a right curve, ran into the side of the road.
So, all the intelligence in the family went to you.
If it is, we're in trouble.
Crawls out, some guy comes along and said,
I just don't understand.
So yeah, he seemed interested, but no, I don't think he wants to drive, especially when he's not sleeping properly. Worry about driving on the road. I thought about it.
Where is he? Does he?
Yeah, you should have said something to me. We could have if he would like to. We're close to the.
Well, we've got a few, I think, that would probably love to be here part of Santa. She doesn't want to drive.
She's driving from across the road.
No, she's fine.
Oh, she is? Oh, I don't think she's in Florida also? Oh, wait a minute.
She's got a really neat property.
Oh, good for her. Why did I think she was on that? Okay.
So,
Yeah, I was,
the stuff that's coming out, it's like I was just reading all these articles that
oh, yeah, right there.
It was cool.
it was called Good News Friday from, I can't remember her name, I'm getting old for that.
She was very interesting.
But, there's all these people.
So then we've got a new place.
There's
Down
one
to
up
This is the same family.
this former prosecutor,
people
that
that were the
district attorney in Baltimore.
They bought that piece of property.
They did buy the property.
And there's all these wonderful stories in here.
They're coming out now,
Yeah,
finally.
it's
But
coming
it
out.
didn't buy the
Oh, you mean the swamp is finally
It's
gonna
only
get,
two acres.
So it's
It's getting
getting
exposed, it's like,
draining this
I'll
one?
be honest with you, this time last year, I was able to keep up with.
There's an old store on
I
it.
can't keep up with anything. It's like you guys are losing, so much is going on.
I've had to write
One
little
lady,
programs at
public
home
comment
to
went around
digest
and
this stuff.
So who is this,
They're very nice.
what is this like?
Cindy Powell, this is, she's got this Defending the Republic website.
Wait, just take
Why
a
don't I,
picture.
why don't I forward it to you? This is an email.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was picking it up. Man, we can bring this microphone to you, so they passed the microphone back. He said,
And I love how they
didn't know
put
you
you
were
a
showing
little
my age,
fried
just
chips
using-
away, and it's like, no, it's just one of them attacking
It is
around, that's all.
hilarious.
They've done this
And she said,
all along.
the gentleman over there said that his
And then I was watching a documentary.
grandson was born in that house. Well, I lived in that house. My husband and I, our honeymoon, came back together, beat down in North Carolina the next day, so we spent
So
our
what's your email address?
evening back in that house. So it's got, she's up there to make photos. So it's got some sentimental value to me. And the whole place was smiling and breaking up. It was really cute.
Where is?
Yahoo.com.
Going 200, you said?
It's down 200, down from Brown Store, Brown Store Road anyway.
Yeah,
Down,
down from Brown Store Road, uh-huh. But it's on 200.
You're good to
So
go.
it's near Rockland.
Now you just gotta get back and look at it before it gets buried in the rest of the
So what would this
Exactly.
family do with that piece of property?
But, there's links in there and you can actually go to her website and subscribe to it. You know who she is, right?
No,
Sydney Powell?
No.
She's the one that got General Flynn off the boat when they were trying to wipe him out.
I've heard the name, yeah.
And she was one of Trump's first lawyers.
Okay, that's why, okay.
So they wouldn't be having, it wouldn't be a taxpayer for
Their elections, I'm like, really? And
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Scott Miller.
feel the same way.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $83.22. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Northern Neck.
Hello there, this is Tom. Is that Scott I heard?
Yeah, this is Scott. Hello. I finally got through to you guys. I'm sorry for the slight delay. I was just trying to use the phone, and I don't know if you're aware, but you have to give it a voice sample to prove your identity, and sometimes it doesn't take it. So I had to try and call you. This is about the 6th or 7th time trying to call you, but I finally got through. So yeah, sorry for that.
I'm glad you got through. I did not know that. Thanks for sharing that bit of information. I mean, I had no idea that you had to do that.
She's got a better connection.
Yeah, it's weird because you get a regular password for using the phone, but then it also makes you repeat a phrase every time you want to call somebody, and if you don't say it right, then it just cuts off the call and it just ends the call. So then you call back and you're a little bit annoyed, a little bit frustrated. So then like that it changes how you talk. So then you fail it again. So then you're more annoyed, and then the next thing you know, you're like screaming at the thing. So it's just one of the many slight annoyances that you experience on a daily basis in this kind of situation. But anyway, so how are you guys doing out there?
Hey, we're doing great. We're doing great. We're always happy to hear from you guys, so I'm really glad that you're able to connect. You sound real good. You're coming through loud and clear, and your voice sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm feeling pretty good. It's Friday evening, so everybody's kind of, just hanging out. I had a great workout a few hours ago with one of the other guys. We were doing some burpees. I don't know if any of the other guys mentioned, but yesterday we actually got to go outside for 1 hour. And that was the first time, I believe that was the first time that they let this unit outside since October. So that was huge for us. Just that 1 hour of sunshine and fresh air really went a long way towards, just making everybody feel physically and mentally better and just more alive. So, things are pretty good right now here in the Patriot Pod. So that's where we're at. I just kind of spur of the moment hopped on the call tonight. I wasn't planning to hop on, but I figured you guys are out there all the time supporting us. So the least I can do is pick up the tablet and call you guys every once in a while.
Hey, Scott?
Yeah.
I want to say happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. Who is this I'm speaking with?
Cheryl Johnson.
Oh, hey Cheryl, how's it going? I thank you for, I believe you sent me a copy of the newsletter.
Yes, I sent you, right.
Okay, well, I'm glad I got to speak to you. I read the whole article you sent me, and then I actually forwarded it along to my dad. I sent it in the mail to my dad so he could look at it, and he just got that today. So thank you for that, and thank you for the happy birthday, and thank you to everybody else that's been sending me. They've been trickling in for the past several days, birthday cards and things like that. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So anyway, I'm trying to think what else is new here. I don't think I told you guys, but I talked to the DC Vigil. I think it was a week ago, and I told them that I had lost my title as the arm wrestling champion of the Patriot Pod, unfortunately. But in, I believe a week from Tuesday, we're going to have our first bodybuilding competition. So me and Curtis Tate and any of the other guys who want to, we're going to be showing off and see who has the best physique. So I may have a new title to boast about a week from Sunday. So. So that'll be exciting. I'm always trying to think of new, interesting things for us to kind of do together as a community here. I started a writing club, and we had our first meeting for that this week. So we just kind of got together and shared some things that we've all been writing, and just kind of encouraged each other to stay productive and just keep writing, just so that we can do something productive while we're here. So that's kind of my updates for what's going on here right now. There's I see it a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's fantastic on the writing club. Are you kind of doing tips and pointers and that kind of thing, or just talking about different spitballing ideas? What goes on in there?
So my idea was really just to have it be kind of an informal get-together, and really just for it to be something for us to kind of, just kind of do, just something useful that we could do, because, when you're in here, it's like the days kind of blend together, it starts to, after you kind of get used to this environment, it kind of becomes a challenge to, keep yourself motivated to, get up each day and do something useful. And it's kind of a difficult environment to do that because, it's just always, there's various different types of nonsense that go on every week. Like just yesterday, they woke me up early to go down to medical, and when I got down there, we discovered that they got the wrong person, the wrong Miller. So it's a weird place to be in. So my idea was just to kind of everybody get together and just share what we're writing and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And it was nice. It was good. We talked for probably about 2 hours, and I'm hoping that some of us will come out of this with some really inspirational and interesting things. And maybe some of us will get some of these things published someday. I know Mr. Genotakis, he's a really good writer. I just like scribbling down, random things that come into my head and just writing them down. So that was really all I intended for it. But like I said, that was the first meeting, so we'll do another one next week, and maybe we'll share something that comes out of that group with you guys at some point.
Yeah, cool. That sounds great. Wow, really cool. Well, good luck on the bodybuilding contest too. So
Thank you. Yeah. So the other guy that the other guy that works out a lot, we kind of spontaneously just decided to challenge each other to a competition. He, Mr. Curtis Tate, he has the advantage of actually being an experienced bodybuilder. He's been in shows before. I have the advantage of the fact that I've only been here for a little over a month. So, for the past year, I don't know if you guys know, but all of 2023, I was on house arrest. And really one of my main focuses was just working out. So I was in the basement just lifting weights 5 days a week, and just seeing how big and strong I can get. So it'll be an interesting matchup, and I'll be sure to fill you guys in on the results of who wins that.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. Well, no, I didn't know the background, so you want to tell us a little bit and make sure to save time for your Give, Send, Go, things like that, if you care to.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And I just checked the time. I think I've got maybe 5 more minutes before it cuts me off. So yeah, I just got here January 5th, and like I said, all of 2023 I was under house arrest. Everything went down for me on December 16th, 2022, so 9 days before Christmas. And that was actually 2 months after I got married. So that was a pretty interesting turn of fate. Me and my wife were still in the honeymoon phase. Things were going pretty good for us. We were, ready to start saving up to buy our first house. Looking forward to starting a family. But life is an adventure, and it's full of ups and downs. So where I'm at right now is, and I actually got to talk about this with Mr. Janatakis' wife on Sunday. Me and my wife, last year we decided that we, despite all the crazy things that are going on, we still want to try and start a family. So when I got released from house arrest, in January of 2022, my wife got pregnant. Unfortunately, she miscarried after about 8 weeks. So that was pretty upsetting to her, but I didn't think too much of it. I thought, we'll just, get pregnant again. We have some time. Weeks went by, months went by. It wasn't happening. We were praying about it. We were starting to get to the point where, we weren't sure if it was going to happen in time, but we just kept praying about it. And I was just kind of at the place where I thought, God, if you let this happen, that's great. If it's not in your will for us to start a family right now, then I'm okay with that too. And then about, fall turned to winter, it was starting to look like the time of, me being home was kind of coming to an end. And then a few days before Christmas, my wife told me that she was pregnant again. So we had a little Christmas miracle. So she is currently about 10 going on 11 weeks pregnant. Actually, she might be going on 12 weeks because I believe she has an ultrasound next week, and I'm going to call her after I get off of this phone call. But I believe she has an ultrasound appointment next week, so that'll probably be around the 12-week mark. So I wanted to ask you guys if you could just pray for me and my wife that the appointment goes well and the baby's healthy. That's the main thing I'm thinking about right now is, praying that God will keep my wife and our child safe and healthy as she goes through this really big part of life. Unfortunately, without me by her side, but she's a real trooper, and this is what we want, and we believe that this is an answer to prayer from God. So that's another thing that I'll be sure to kind of fill you guys in on how the ultrasound appointment goes. But so far everything's looking good.
Well, you got
that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You got eight voices that are going to add you to our prayers, and more online, I'm sure. So thanks so much for sharing that, and congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a huge boost. I mean, that's really, my wife is the main, person that keeps me, focused on just, getting through this. I know it's going to come to an end someday. I don't know when. I pray that it ends sooner than I think it might. But I know that no matter how long this takes, God's going to help us get through it. He's going to take care of us. And I just couldn't be happier to know that, someday I'll be able to go back to her, and we're going to have a child and be able to live our dreams of raising a family together. So. Like I said, life's an adventure, and there's ups and downs, and, man makes his plans, and then God says, well, hold on a second. So, I'm just here for the ride. So, I really thank you guys for all the prayers, all the support. I don't have a give, send, go set up just yet. I have been telling my wife that I'd like to do that at some point. But
You have 1 minute remaining.
So I will let you guys know when we get a give, send, go set up, so that you guys can contribute to that if you would like to. If you want to write to me, as you know, my name is Scott Miller. My number is 387-919. I've been getting a lot of letters, and I'm trying to reply to the handwritten personal letters. Thank you guys very much for the support, and you guys keep it up, and we'll keep our spirits up in here, and looking forward to better days. There's a lot going on in the world right now, so it's an exciting time to be alive.
Well, thank you. Nice to meet you, Scott, and God bless you. Thanks a lot for calling.
Thank you, guys. I don't know who's on next, but I'm going to go find him, and stay tuned. All right, good night. You care about it.
Thank you for you.
Peter.
So do you know the story? He was under house arrest. Why'd they finally put him in jail?
It's interesting. There are people that have been, walking around with the ankle monitors and stuff like that, but
either it could be so much as he walked too far and it triggered it. That could have sent him to jail.
Oh,
There's
no.
somebody who literally, her house was like so spread out that she couldn't be in certain rooms because it would trigger. Because they can't, I mean, if they're on house arrest, there are some that are so severe they can't walk out the front door. And then there are others who have been told they can't be on the internet, and simply because they turned on a podcast while they were outside because they were allowed to be outside but not on the internet, that landed them in jail. Yeah. It could be that he went to trial, and when he went to trial, or he had a sentencing, or it could be any reason. I don't know his specifically.
We do have a rather inconsistent system, don't we?
So do you think he's been convicted then?
Not yet, he hasn't been sentenced.
He hadn't been sentenced,
No.
okay.
So something.
Because he's still in DC.
This is just a holding tank for everybody,
What?
commentary.
Oh,
Yeah, so now I took notes, so I know what to write to him when I write to him.
now I'm gonna have to get up and go look.
Well, yeah, probably.
So I was driving here answering y'all's questions. The convoy wasn't thousands of vehicles. It would have taken thousands of vehicles to spread across the border. I think it was like 77,000 to spread across the border and shut it down.
77,000.
I think that's the number, don't quote me, but something like that. And so people took that and ran with, oh, there's thousands of vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Conservative Daily, Professor Clements does a lot with them, and Conservative Daily today at 12 interviewed the guy who organized all that, and it was fascinating. And Reed Christensen is in Philly. If you haven't written to him yet, I would hold off, because it could be there 2 more weeks, or it could be there 2 more months, who knows? Because Philly is a transit area.
Yeah, I saw that he's on hold.
Yeah.
So how many people are in Texas, did you say, how many trucks?
I don't know how many are there now, because some people went down and went home, some people went down and are still, I don't know.
So how many, average was there about?
I know.
4 minutes.
The last time I heard the convoy that left out of Virginia Beach, they were coming into Dripping Springs, and at that point, I think there were just under 100.
Okay.
But that was one of 4 of them that met up down in that area.
Right.
So I don't know.
What Scott was saying, remember I told you I photocopied that 3rd anniversary article from the Sentinel.
That noise that keeps that noise. What is that, you think?
So that's.
Do you hear it?
How you doing tonight, Mark?
I just heard that.
I'm tired.
Far away from.
The bombing, like Dow Green, it sounds like bombing.
I didn't know they were gonna send the Sentinel. And so I wanted to see that their anniversary.
That's great.
Article. That's the only way I could go, how to do it.
Well, and everybody loves like pictures of cats and dogs, because everybody misses their animals. I would imagine.
So you gonna run again? Are you gonna run?
Oh, you tell him what you're doing.
Well, I heard that you were and then you weren't, because you were
He's
finished
a
up.
commissioner now.
Yeah, I'm on the Economic Development Committee now.
Oh, that's right, okay. never mind.
So what
So I
happened
was-
at the end? I left before they decided on that part.
So they had to decline it. There's a genuine
We're
interest
gonna
in
get ready
trying
for
to
the-
help them get set up, but you can't do it on 2 acres.
Oh.
This is a prepaid call from
Wyatt.
You guys gonna come up and sing with us?
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, 1. Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Wyatt.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse. Current balance is $81.52. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello, this is Tom.
Hey Tom, good evening. This is Sergeant Wyatt calling from the DC Gulag and the Patriot Pod. Just got here, man.
Good to hear your voice. Good to hear your voice. You got some good people you're around there.
Yeah, we do. I got about like 2 minutes, and they're getting ready to do like the national anthem. So when I stop talking, that'll be why.
All right. Got it.
So I was just sentenced last week to 46 months. My name is Doug Wyatt. Here we go, man. We're getting ready to do the national anthem. Here we go.
All right, Doug.
All right, guys, 30 seconds.
You guys are getting good at that.
Hey, Tom, still there?
You guys are getting good at that.
Yeah, man. So this is like my only third night in the pod, and I got started like I got sentenced like 1 week ago, and like you know, the FBI came to my house almost 3 years ago. You know, it's when it all started. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that I'm sitting here. It's ridiculous that, you know, I got 4 kids, a wife. I have, like, no criminal history. I just work, man. You know, I'm a carpenter. I work. I manage construction. I love what I do. From Maryland, went to Baltimore. But, like, you know, talk about a black cloud and just a terrible thing for me to go through, for these people to go through. And you just start thinking about, like, the flag being upside down. You think about, like, do I want to live in this country? You know, I hate it here. You start thinking this country sucks. You know, but then it's like, you also remember in the back of your mind, I'm a historian, man. And I knew what it took to tame this country. I knew what it took, you know, those people that left England, you know, for religious persecution, for just freedom. They left because of freedom. And then it's like, you get to somewhere like here, in the country, and you're surrounded a bunch of people who haven't forgotten that, who take the time every night to say, you know, sing the national anthem. And they're very patriotic. They have it worse off than me. You know, so I'm glad that I'm with these fellow Americans, and it just makes me feel good, man, that I'm around other people that love the country. I'm not around a bunch of social justice warriors that hate the country. I'm around people that in the worst of times don't forget, you know, to be thankful and patriotic.
Yep, you said it.
Yeah, man, so anyway, just got sentenced, 46 months. I was set up, you know, it's right on video. Anybody can go ahead and sit it. You can look at it for yourself. We're on the west side. The government will pass out weapons and instruct you how to use them. I discharged it. I held this fire extinguisher. I know what it is. I held it up for 12 seconds. I hit it 2 times. You know, splash here, splash here. Nobody's even around. They can't produce a victim. They can't produce a victim statement. You know, and I went in there and I pled guilty. You know, hey man, you know, maybe I wasn't, you know, exactly turning water into wine that day. You know, it's fine. I made some mistakes. I'm a human being. I just want to go ahead and get this thing over with. Plus, I can't get a fair trial. Fine. I'm going to go ahead and plead guilty. And instead of having any type of compassion or understanding, they did. They had hate and vitriol, and they actually regurgitated lies. You know, just the lies that they told. The prosecutor, she just lied and lied and lied and lied. It was quite a surprise. It was quite a surprise to get locked up there. And my wife's at home by herself, man. And, you know, my stepson is in jail, too. You know, he got sentenced to 40 months. The government was asking for 84. You know, so they gave him just a little under half. It was fair. And he's a big boy. You know, he took accountability for his actions. But it's a hard time for my family, especially my wife. You know, this is just hard times. But I pray to get through it, man. Not just for me and my family, but for this country. We're in a bad way. You know, lies and deceit. Lies and deceit rule the day right now. And hopefully come November, you know, we can get a fair election. We can get our guy in, and more importantly, we can hold the fort down from November to January. You think that what you saw on January the 6th, 2021 was a terrible thing? Just like if Donald Trump wins and George Soros unleashes the stormtroopers, they're lying in wait, ready to be activated. So, you know, hopefully everybody gets prepared out there, because I fear the worst is yet to come.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think you're right, but also the best is yet to come. So, but it's good warning. You're right.
Walk through the fire to get to the other side.
The best is yet to come. We'll see, man. We'll see. Now, it'd be nice if the RNC and Ronna McDaniel, I think her last name is, she should just resign. I mean, she's total garbage, you know, and instead of making the plan that works, she's out there applying for lines of credit because nobody will donate a nickel to the RNC right now because they're so corrupt. How do they not throw Nikki Haley out and just get behind Trump? It's not about Nikki Haley or Trump. It's about America and Americans. That's how far this thing has gone right now. We don't have time for this nonsense of Nikki Haley. She can't win. And what is she hoping? That Donald Trump gets convicted of something? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all funded by the same people, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I think Rhonda McDaniels is out. I think that just happened this week. I think that news is,
I thought she was waiting until
she's out.
South Carolina.
Oh, that's great news, man. Do you know who she's going to be replaced with?
No, I don't know yet.
Gotta go through.
I want to say her name is like Harmeet Dillon or something like that. I know she was an attorney. I know she ran pretty hard last time. I loved everything she said. I thought that, yeah, man, that's what we need. And she got smoked. Here's a woman with a great message who's trying to be the RNC chairman. It's something Dillon, Harmeet Dillon or something like that.
That's right.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Harmeet.
Right, but I mean, she had this message. This message just got you kind of pumped up, man. You're thinking, yeah, but when the votes came in, she got smoked. That's how far gone the RNC is right now, and I hope they can turn it around, man. We need all hands on deck.
Yep. Yep. And it's left and right, but it's not an R and versus D, because I'm not very happy with the R's either. So there's plenty of those that need to step up and step out.
Yeah, man. I can love a Democrat. You know, I don't care. You know, I follow first. You know what I mean? The R and D in front of your name is irrelevant to me. I mean, we all, at the end of the day, want the same thing. It's these corrupt politicians and the uniparty in Washington that are the problem. They are the problem. And you got someone like Donald Trump who understands that, who cuts through that, and you see, like, you know, Snoop Dogg who ready to come out and give a Trump endorsement, or Charlemagne the God, or, you know, there's other people on the left that see what's happening. And they're coming to the same conclusion that I am. It's not about R&D, it's about America and Americans, man. We're in a bad way. So that's good news. I'm glad that she finally stepped down. And I hope this is good together, man. Now's the time. What kind of turnout you guys got there?
We got about 9 folks here tonight, something like that. And, you know, we're going to wrap up here shortly. So do you want to give any of your information? Do you have Gibson Go or any of that stuff you want to get out there?
I'm not going to give my inmate number if anybody wants to make a donation here to the jail or not, you know, or look up my story. But I'm just going to say my name is Douglas Wyatt. My inmate number is 388263. And, you know, I'm a political prisoner, man, is how I think of myself. So, thank you, gentlemen.
We know you're political prisoner.
You are a political prisoner. I'm going to read to you the banner we have on the wall. Hey, can you guys, Mark, you guys are still online here. The banner on the wall says, "The J6 detainees are America's very own political prisoners."
So, amen, brother.
Yep. So,
I'm number 277, man. On the most wanted list. They call me the Emperor's Third. But like I told you before, man, I was fed up. You know what I mean? That's what they tagged me with, the Emperor's Third. It's just been a nightmare. But as much of a nightmare as it was, it's like the anxiety of, I don't feel that anxiety that I felt, you know, leading up to court. I mean, it sucks what happened. But I just want to get out of here, man. I want to get back to my wife, my daughter, my son, and my dogs. Get back to work. You know, and just be a tax-paying American citizen, man. You know, and hopefully we can turn this thing around. I'll tell you what, the 9 guys that took the time, 9 men and women to come out there to support people like me, man, thank you so much. I mean, it's a big deal here. When I finally got out of solitary, I came up here, and everybody's like, you know, passing around a bag to put some commissary in, to get the stuff in. How are you? Come get your Bible. I mean, it's like, wow, man. You know, it's a big deal. It's the support that you showed to these people. It really comes through, man. So, thank you, guys.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Thank you for telling us. And Douglas, what can you say your last name or spell it for me again?
Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T.
All right, got it. Got it. Thanks so much. Listen, I hope we get to talk to you again. We're going to sign off and get on home, but God bless you, man, and talk to us again soon, okay?
God bless you guys. Thanks again.
All right. Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for using Global
Yeah, he's one of the really new ones, right? Douglas
Yeah,
Hart?
he's the one that the other night when,
Oh, he's not. He didn't know.
Thanks, everybody. We're signing off. Have a great night. Hey, love the flags. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Project Jet?
All right, good night, all.
actually, I don't know, cause I think they just.
What was his last name?
Wyatt, W-Y.